Hello and welcome to part 3 of the log bed build. Today I'm down at the job site. This is a house that we're building, a very expensive house that we're building. What we're going to do today is get all the bark off and get the logs nice and smooth and ready for orbital sanding. And all you need really is a butter knife and a grinder. This grinder's got 24 grit on it, that's what I use. It's just one of those skinny disky things you put on there. And that's pretty much all you need. I got a little hammer to smash stuff around, but that's just because I like smashing stuff. So I'm just going to go at it with the butter knife. I'm just going to take all the bark off, or the big chunks of bark off with it. And then as soon as that's done, I'm going to grind away. I'm going to label some of the pieces so that I know which way it goes back together. Logs aren't straight, they never are. So if you built it one way, you got to put it back that way. Let's get to it. So after I debarked it with my butter knife, I go at it with my old grinder here and just kind of work away. When you get to like this edge here, you always want to pull your grinder up to like this side like this, because if you go into that, you're gonna cut it and make a little mark. So you always want to like go up to it from all the way around. For the holes, the same with the edges down here. You want to just kind of come up to it, because if you go too far and then you pull back, you're going to go meh, and it's going to suck. As far as like when it comes to knots and stuff like this, like that's going to be fun to clean up, but it's going to look sweet when it's all kind of not so gnarly. But I already cleaned one of the big ones up here. You can see the lines, and then the bark, because the bark came up at one point. So now I've kind of flattened it off, and so now you can see all the layers. And that looks really cool when it's all stained up and sanded and everything smooth as a bone. But yeah, back to her. So that's a common example of grinding off your knots there. I've found that if you just take an axe and break them off, they always leave like a jaggedy kind of surface. But if you just cut them long and then grind them down afterwards, they smooth out real nice. So there we go. We got all of our first pieces for the side rail all done up. Put them back together and set it aside, because I'm not going to finish sand it today. I'm just grinding off all the bark. that's how we do it. So here's a good side-by-side comparison of before and after. That's the two side rails, and I have the footboard over here, and now I'm going to sand the crap out of that, and it's probably going to get dark, and I don't really care because work is work. So here we go, we're onto the footboard part, and it's pretty much the same process, just sand, sand, sand. The sun has now gone down, and yeah, we're kicking ass. So we're loading up the truck to go camping, and I was trying to get this big bastard in there and it fell apart on me. Well, it's not glued or anything, it was just strapped together, and it's been strapped for a long time. But I'm taking this picture to make note of where everything goes. Alright, we're all loaded up, ready to go camping. Got the headboard right over here, freaking nice and tucked away, all in pieces. And we're gonna sand it all up out in the bush, because it's nicer out there. Look at all that pretty white stuff up there. We're gonna go out and try and find some snow, I think. May long 2017. It's pretty snowy out here, but I think we're gonna take advantage of this and do some snowboarding. It's gonna be a killer time. There's so much snow. This is definitely snowboardable, but it's getting late. So here we are at the top of Indian Graves Hump, and I brought my snowboard. Because one of these times I knew on May long weekend it was going to be snowy, and this is my time. Alright, here I hike. So here we are. It's pretty freaking nice up here. I do say, almost don't want to leave. You can kind of almost see the sun setting over there. I'm just touching the tops of the mountains. Alright, let's do this. And that, snowboarding on May long weekend. And now to go camping. I got here late last night, set up camp, I cut a little bit of firewood, and I pretty much went to bed. I had a great sleep in my tent. Alright, let's get to work. So this is where we're going to be working today. So we're just about to get started here. Same thing, just do a little bit of butter knifing and then grind the crap out of it, and you'll remove all that crappy wood and reveal the inner nice piece that you're looking for. The tree has already grown your finished artwork. You just gotta get it out of there, you know. Thing with the log bed, you just gotta remove the parts that aren't the log bed. So after I went through my camera, I figured out which one of these goes where, and I made some better marks and labels on which one they are. It's important to mark your pieces, because you might not get it back together the same way. And then it won't fit right because it only goes one way. Cheers. Wipe out! Well, it's 2 days later, and as expected, the snow is already almost gone. I think I'm gonna go up there and try anyway. If I have to snowboard over grass, I have to snowboard over grass. Camping and snowboarding day 2. All right. Woo! So it's day 3, and I finally got some time to do some sanding because, well, I'm camping, and who wants to work that much when they're camping? We got one log left back here, and that's what we're gonna sand. And then we're done the rough sanding, and then we can move on to the 80 grit sanding. So let's get to it. So now that I've got it all grinded down in 24 grit sandpaper, now I'm going to take some 80 grit sandpaper on the grinding wheel and go over the big ones. I'm not going to do the little branches because there's not much left of those, and if I go any more with the grinder, it's going to make it even smaller, and that's not what we want. We're just going to finish sanding. But we'll go over the big ones, and then we'll be done for the day, I think. So here's done with the 80 grit grinder, and here's done with the 24 grit grinder. You can tell the difference, and it makes a big difference when you go to sand it later because this stuff is hard to sand out. Well, needless to say, there's going to be no snowboarding today. So here we are back at the job site. Today we're going to use a random orbit sander instead of a grinder. So first I use 80 grit, then I use 120 grit. Then I glue it and pull it together with straps, and then whatever damage is done after that, I kind of do a little last touch-up sand, and then she is ready for stain. Let's get to it! together. And there's a little bit of glue spilling out there and there. A little bit of glue there. So that's what we do when we clean up and do our final sand. We get rid of stuff like that and all the defects. Like I hammered it there so it's a little messed up, but we'll fix that. So one of these holes is wrong, so we're gonna cut a piece to fill it. So here we go. We've got all our pieces sanded up to 120 grit. Now I'm gonna go do a dry fit. Hey, that rhymes. So now that I have it put together and I made this extension on my table and I did all this extra work, I realized that I probably won't be able to lift it down from the table by myself. So I'm just going to do it on the floor. This is a really stressful part, so if you hear some swearing, that's normal. Well, I think I'm about ready to stand this fucking thing up. Come on, you. Oh god, that's fucking heavy. I gotta wipe some of this glue off. First, I gotta... I think that's about it. Well, this concludes part 3 of our video, how to make a log bed. Someday I'll finish it. In the next part, I'm gonna finish her up, put on the hardware, make it so that you can actually put a mattress in it, and then I'm gonna stain it and finish it. And part 4 should be the last of it. Maybe I'll do another video where there's a little bit of glamour shot, but I don't think so. Just check my Instagram. Cheers! Hello! what we're gonna do today is get all the I fucking hate this thing. First I go over it with 180 grit. Oh, I suck at throwing snowballs. Fuck. I hate this part. Cut!